afternoon, Franklin Township. This is PJ Parker from the Franklin Reporter and Advocate, and I am in probably my most favorite place in this entire community. It's the Franklin Township Animal Shelter. I'm here with Katie Nordhaus, who is our animal control officer, beyond extraordinary, and our special little guest, Miss Betty. And Miss Betty, I'm going to let Katie tell you the rest of the story. But over the weekend, the Somerset Regional Animal Shelter responded to a call of over 20 dogs who had been abandoned in Branchburg Park. And these dogs, I've seen some of the pictures of them. They hadn't been bathed or groomed or anything in God only knows how long. They were in horrible shape. They were hungry. They were tired. They were cold. They were frightened. And we have, how many do we have here, Katie?
We have 3.
From that,
Yeah. So we have 3 from Middlesex Borough. So we have a contract with them for animal control. So I was called out on Saturday morning to pick them up because they were abandoned at the end of this dead end street where there was a small field. The police were able to capture them. They put them into their pen, and then I went and picked them up. So when I actually returned to the shelter and got some more information that there was another shelter that had picked up a bunch of them, we all started talking to each other and realizing that they're almost all the same breed, same sizes, same colors, and all the same condition. So that's when we kind of put it together that somebody took and separated just dropped them off at different towns. So so it's still going on. There's at least we're up to 24 now between 3 shelters. So it's Somerset Regional Animal Shelter, Plainfield Humane Society, and us. And I believe also Animal Control Solutions just had one last night that was found in Reddington Township.
How did they know that it was from the same group?
Well, we're not positive because we have, nobody has any footage, but we're assuming
because of the look and the
right.
Wow. Well, this little young lady seems to have no fear at the moment.
So I think the most important thing about this is that, none of them are ready for adoption right now. Okay. They're all getting their vet care right now. Obviously, Betty has been shaved down because their biggest problem is being matted. And they were soaked with urine. So the ammonia smell coming off of them. The hardest problem now is going to be getting them social to people because they're also bonded to each other because there's probably usually when you have that many dogs together in one spot, all they do is bond to each other and not to people. So there may not have been a lot of people involved in this also. So if they don't get handled from a really young age, it's really hard for them. So that's our biggest hurdle now is to get them. Now we've got them cleaned up. We've got vaccines. Now we have to start working on them trusting people. And that'll just start really slow and easy, with our staff and then, venture further out from there. So she's very vocal right now. She's nervous.
I think she's hungry. She doesn't appear to be nervous at all. She's not shaking. She's not cowering. She's nibbling.
Dog, yes. So we just kind of wanted to let everybody know that this happens in your local town and your local shelters are the ones that are going to be able to help you when you have an issue at your home. And so to donate because it's National Shelter Adoption Day.
It's National Adopt a Shelter Pet Day.
There you go. Okay. So,
but not this one.
Yeah. Yeah. So the most important thing is that, donate to your local shelter because that's what keeps us going. All the donations that, people drop off for us, it just helps us to, keep helping them even further, and of course we're going to have large medical bills with these guys.
Exactly. So we appreciate the donations of tangible goods, Franklin, but what is really going to be necessary this time is a monetary donation because that enables the other expenditures that are going to be necessary. They're necessary on a regular basis with the animals that are in the care here of Katie and her crew year round, all the time. Monetary donations are more than welcome and absolutely needed. But now they're taking on a whole nother responsibility, and that number may yet grow.
It could because people are still calling about, one got picked up last night. So, we don't know. So,
is there a veterinarian who you'd like to honor who's taken charge?
Well, the vet that helped us with and took them in right away was Happy Pets Vet Hospital, which is out on Main Street in Southbound Brook. So they took them right in and got them cleaned up for us. And, and did their blood work, so we're just awaiting blood results and stuff like that to see where we stand with them.
So it's just it's such an amazing animal community, the networking, and all of you who come together to save a puppy like this.
Yes. Yeah.
Really?
Well, yeah. That, I mean, we do it because we love them. We
I
really do love them. You know.
Katie is the most loving individual I have ever met across the board. But when it comes to an animal, you better not be in distress because the animal's distress is going to come first. And I understand that. I totally get it. But whether we had a little visit with a goose a couple of weeks ago, and we're not sure if it was mommy or daddy goose, but somebody was protecting a nest way up on a roof, and he or she was not terribly fearful, but didn't belong in the parking lot of a gymnasium in a shopping center. So we chatted about that, and eventually the little person, I'll be all right, the little winged creature found his or her way outside of the parking lot. So all is well on that level. But Katie is the first person, of course, when I would encounter that, Katie, guess what? And Katie does. Katie does.
No, thank you.
Really?
I think one of the hardest things was when I saw them in the pen. I just kind of closed myself in and just sat down with them because you could just tell that they were so petrified, and they did not run to me or everything like that. But I just sat in the corner with them and got them to just at least make eye contact with me, and then showed them a crate, and they actually all ran into the crate, which was so
the safety in the shelter.
Yeah,
Right.
Yep.
Right.
So
Well, this little girl has no fear. This is just so precious and such gorgeous coloring.
Yeah. So that we believe that they're probably a mix of Maltese and Papillon. So they're all three of them are very vocal. So that will be something that as people come forward and want to adopt, that they'll have to understand that that's who they are.
Do you encourage adopting siblings?
It really depends on how old they are. If we get an older couple of like cats or dogs that have lived together the whole life, absolutely. Because it's important. They've been together their whole life, and you don't want to disturb that.
Hey, Betty. Hey, Betty. Where's your hot dog? Where's your hot dog? There it is. There it is. It's down there. Go get it. There it is. Oh, that's all we wanted. Auntie Katie knows. Yeah, she's hungry. Yeah. And that's nerves too, but maybe she's starving.
Yeah. Well, when you're in a group, so let's say if all 24 of those dogs live together, taking them, feeding all of them, they probably had to fight for food.
Of course.
So,
yeah, I know. I adopted two, not shelter guys, but rescue organization guys. And my one little guy who I'm not even sure what his age is, and I really don't care. He was the one who was all the way in the back, kind of watching everybody do stuff, and he wouldn't join in. He was fearful. And he was the one that people say, oh, never take the quiet one. Well, he was just so sweet, just sitting there like that, just wanting so much to be a part of, and didn't know how. And that was just, now he's very social. He's very sweet. He's very social, and he's beautiful. But he's now almost totally blind. In the situation he was in, he was abused, and he lost sight. So we do. Yes, we do, sweet girl. Oh, you're so adorable. If Cody wasn't the ruler of the roost, you know what I'm thinking. So just tell us what people can do in terms of donations. What is the website where somebody can donate monetarily?
Well, actually, they could just either mail in a check. We don't actually have the website for them, so they can mail us a check, or they can stop in at the shelter also and drop something off. Also, we have donation bins out front where people can drop off, supplies anytime. So our biggest needs: paper towels, bleach, laundry detergent, dish detergent, kitten chow, because we are now entering our kitten season. And, it's amazing how much they eat. They eat a lot. Old towels, blankets, all that stuff helps. So.
Okay. What kind of food? Any particular brand or any content?
Usually for our cats, we just use Purina kitten chow. And then we use Purina cat chow for the adults.
And what about the pups?
And the dogs, we usually are on just whatever people drop off. We kind of mix it together. You know, if we have somebody who is sensitive, we'll actually set a bag aside for them. These guys showed no issues with eating at all, so they were eating anything that we were giving them. You know, so
Well, and you can tell pretty quickly how well that's being received.
yes, yeah, so, yeah.
So it seems, you know, I hate to think that somebody was cruel in this endeavor and they just thought that, oh, I'm just going to get rid of these dogs. I had a friend who had a similar situation, and he just kept taking in more dogs, and people would drop off their dogs and kind of intimidate him into adopting them because they were going to destroy the dog, and if you don't take it. And it is an overwhelming responsibility, and the ability to feed 50 dogs and take care of them and groom them properly and get them veterinary care, it becomes overwhelming. And then if they start to reproduce, that's a whole nother layer. So I'm trying to be magnanimous in thinking that these people thought, or whoever was responsible for this drop off was thinking about the animals, that someone would pick them up, an organization or members of the community would take these animals into their homes, love them, and give them the care that these people obviously could not give. So I'm going to go with that thought, whether it's actual or it's not actual. We need to be merciful for these who are the least of these. And in many people's eyes, the subject of immeasurable cruelty and neglect. And here we are in this little room with so many of these little pussycats who need to be adopted. And these guys are ready to go, right?
Yes, these guys are up for adoption now. So you could just come to the shelter anytime. Tuesday through Friday is 12 to 3. Saturday is 12 to 6. And check them out and fill out the application.
And these are so sweet. Oh my gosh, these little kitties, they're just watching. They're having a lovely little time, just observing and say, oh, what's that? What are they doing? Or not paying attention at all. Right, exactly, exactly. And what else should we know? Again, we covered food, we covered supplies, bleach, detergent, towels, bedding, blankets, food, monetary. And I understand, if I'm not mistaken, now the Franklin Food Bank is accepting food donations as well, so that when their clientele comes in for human food, and if they also need animal food, that there is a supply chain going on.
Yes, there is. So,
Okay.
So this way, hopefully, it'll help prevent animals from getting surrendered to shelters.
No, and that is so important, Franklin. Although in Franklin Township, if there is a sheltering situation that's absolutely necessary, this is the shelter, because we have a woman here who is one of the dearest women I know ever in my entire life. Her heart for animals is beyond big, and beyond caring, and beyond ultra concern for the welfare of these little creatures who need you desperately.
And I guess the only other thing I want to say is, now that we're into spring, it is baby season. Baby wildlife, please just leave them be. They won't stay long. They grow up quick, and they will all be out on their own. So we just have to learn to just leave them be.
And especially fox.
Yes, just leave them be. They're gonna raise their kids like everybody else does, and and they'll all take off.
Fox, possum, who else?
There's coyotes, there's raccoons, squirrels, groundhogs. The fawns will start being born soon. And the thing with the deer is that they leave their babies. They leave them alone because you know what? They have no scent when they're first born. So no predators will find them. So it may not look very smart to do it in the middle of your front lawn, but that's what they do, and they're protected, and we have to just leave them be. They'll be back and they'll be watching.
Okay, there you have it, Franklin, from the authority about domestic and wildlife in Franklin Township. Here we go. And here's little Miss Betty, and we hope maybe in a couple of months she'll be ready.
Yes, she should be able to do a follow-up and let you know how they are all doing.
Woof! You have anything to say, Miss? Anything to say? Well, there you have it, Franklin. On National Adopt a Shelter Pet Day. And here in Franklin Township, we have such sweet animals and they're getting the best of care. So you can be assured of that. When you take them into their homes, they know what love is. Thank you, Ms. Katie Nordhaus, once again. And Franklin reporter and advocate, PJ Parker, and Miss Betty Boo. Yes, are we going to be back? Huh? Are we going to be back? I think so.